right. Hello, my beautiful stars. Welcome back to Path of Spirals Tarot. My name is Claire, and today we are doing a very fun and beautiful, ethereal, ephemeral dream reading. This dream spread today is called the Dream Come True spread, and it's going to be 6 cards indicating what your dream is, what your nightmare is, or what you fear could potentially happen, the root as to why you want it, the action to take, the help you could get, and the outcome of the dream. Now, this could be an actual dream you've been having when you go to bed. It could be a daydream. It could be a breath of inspiration that's been visiting you constantly from the big magic energy of ideas. Whatever it is, it feels deeply significant to you, and you know you need to do something with that energy, okay? Before we get started today, I wanted to show you my latest offering. So I'm going to just cover the name here. I've been making hand-painted astrological birth charts lately. I've been painting up a storm, guys. I'm also an artist. And I have been making these with the planets and their placements. It's a little bit more artistic than it is utilitarian. So alongside this reading, I'll always be happy to talk to you about whatever information is on astroseek.com. I am moderately good at astrology. I love the art of astrological birth charts. I think they're a great evergreen gift. And this is handmade. This is hand painted with metallic and regular watercolors, gouache, and micron pens. I've made this one for a friend I'm about to send in the mail. And you know, this one is actually my son's birth chart. So, very fun astrological, cosmological offering I have. If you'd like to order one, you can just reach out to me, Instagram, TikTok, or send me an email at pathofspiralstarot@gmail.com. You can find me on Instagram. I'm definitely there. I just don't upload super often there right now. I'm uploading mostly here, and then also on TikTok. I have a game show called the TikTok, it's just called the Tarot Game Show, where I teach people tarot by a little bit of friendly competition and memorization and recall and things like that. So with that out of the way, let's start our reading. Your job today is to pick one of our signifiers. I think this is a kyanite donut crystal. This is just like a crescent moon with crystal pin. Not an actual crystal, but you know. And then, I can't remember off the top of my head what this one is. Maybe let me know down in the comments if you know what that is. This one. Okay? We're going to get started. So feel free to pick your group, and we're going to start with group 1. All right, group 1. We call in Source, the universe, Gus, Allah, Hashem, God, the highest source energy. We call that in alongside our angels, archangels, totem animals, spirit animals, ancestors, specifically my ancestors working with yours across Kairos time. We cast a crystalline dome over the reading to keep sacred information and good energies in, to be infused into your energy field, and we banish and expel any negative energies that are attracted to what we're doing. The spiritual warfare is real, but we call in protection. Chastity of the reading. Okay, let's get started. So, the very first thing is we need to get to the bottom of this. What is your dream? I feel like this sort of green and grounded, almost Taurus-like energy for the dream. Okay. What's the nightmare? In the sense of, what do you fear could go wrong? What do you fear could happen? It feels a little shaky. Doesn't even feels almost not real, this nightmare. It doesn't feel based in reality. What's the root? Why do you want this? Why is it calling to you? Okay, persistent. That's the root. What's the action you need to take? Okay. This is the action. Okay, action. And action you need to take. The help you can get. And then the, we could also pull these into the frame better. Hold on a second, but we'll just pull one more, okay? The outcome. Okay. Just give me 1 second to reorient this in the frame. Like that, does that look okay? We need to... Mother of pearl. Okay, I think that's good enough. All right, this is what we're gonna have to work with as far as the layout. Okay, so the dream, are we ready? Ace of Cups, and it's in reverse, so it's already a little bit blocked, but let's just assume the dream is upright, okay? Okay, the nightmare. Two of Wands. The root of why you want this thing. Seven of Wands. I'm gonna put this back upside down just because that's how we pulled it. Okay, the action you should take. Knight of Swords. The help you can get. Magician in reverse. The outcome. Knight of Cups. Interesting, guys. You know, I'm already feeling like this is cards calling you out. I was anticipating like the dream reading being a little bit more, I don't know. I sort of feel like you're having this daydream about, gosh, I feel like I'm almost like at a loss for words with pulling these. That's gotta be significant. Oh, all right, group one. I had to take a minute here because I got super overwhelmed with several feelings within this reading. One was mixed emotions, mixed intentions, sort of cross communication that is not clear, nervous system activation, things emotionally and within the speech being withheld and stagnant, and survival. So there's a good reason why you're dreaming what you're dreaming. You have valid reasons for feeling the hesitation around this reading. And I'd also like to note that Kyanite is actually like an interesting energy to have at the function because it is for clearing stagnant energy and for opening the throat chakra. Okay, so the dream is you are longing for emotional, spiritual openness, groundedness, a sense of like a clear, tall glass of drinking water. You are parched in some way. You want to have this sort of replenishment within your psyche and within your feelings emotionally, but since it's blocked, you're like a little too tired or hesitant to receive it, or where you've been trying to get it, like from another person, for example, you have not been getting it and you're tired. Now, the Two of Wands is the nightmare about what this thing is. Now, Wands is about like gathering like the resources to like direct your energy to get the thing. There's a blockage here. There's a blockage here. There is a hesitancy to even gather the resources or to think about how to get this card upright. I sense a bit of fear. I sense hesitation. I sense a lower vibrational emotions around this, like this feeling of just almost like the trajectory you've been on that has you being called to clean up the stagnation. The energy is so clogged here. It's so clogged. So I'm really going to try to like Reiki and shamanically pull this energy up on out of you. Let's just do a little bit of that, okay? I honestly need to infuse this with something because you need it. We need to kind of pull the stagnation out of you. Now, what's in the root, the reason why you want these things to get correct, because ideally you'd like these to both be upright. Ideally, right? These weren't how we pulled them, but they want to be upright. You want them that way because you have been in defensive mode and survivability and confusion around your surroundings but you know that they're not correct, and you kind of see where things should go. See, she's in this sort of defensive mode, holding up her, or he, him, them, are holding up this wand almost defensively. And they're also putting up a boundary with their staves, with their wands. Okay? There's this defensiveness, this sort of survival mode that you have been in. And now the action to take is speaking clearly, using very clearly and with decisiveness and with action within those words. The Knight of Swords represents going out and just saying directly what it is that you need, because what I'm getting is there is this other person, it feels like almost like trauma bond, toxic relationship, some sort of ill-intentioned person, could be a friendship. I don't want to get too general. This causes so much nervous activation to me that this has to be somebody that you either live with or you see super often, that always has you feeling this. Okay? But that you haven't really been speaking up about it, perhaps, perchance. And now what also indicates it to me is that your guiding energy is the Magician in reverse. So the Magician in reverse is going to indicate that it could be a little bit you, a little bit the other person. There is this over-promising, this overselling and manipulation, trickster energy going on within this energy that has sort of been towing you along and keeping things like this. I sort of see it as like honeymoon phase. The cycle repeats, and every time you get more tired. So the guiding energy is to see things for what they are, believe the actions that people take before you believe their words, because people's actions indicate it's the most honest way somebody communicates is through their actual actions. So do the thoughts, words, and actions all line up? Probably not. Now, if this is a call coming from inside the house, because it could be a little bit, are you living in alignment with your own values and meeting your own needs? Likely not, because this is an energy that's also undermining you and has like a net negative to your well-being. Now, these cards are all indicating that if you take heed to this message, you are going to come out on top more with this sort of Knight of Cups. It's almost like you're going into this lesson here so that you can become more initiated in your emotional intelligence. But you have to get this sort of life lesson by way of this other person causing some type of abuse, misconduct, trickster, cheating kind of energy is afoot. And that when you speak clearly about what it is that you need and recognize that they can't really meet you there, that there's going to be this dissolving of this dynamic, and that you will be more prepared to walk forward in your truth spiritually and emotionally more integrated than you were before. Whereby you'll also have this one. Let me just move these down. See these cards as kind of living together. Finally, you're going to have this fresh emotional and spiritual connection come in. Could be a person, could just be peace of mind, come in for you once this has been dealt with. Okay? Yeah, I can sense how you're feeling, Group 1. I can sense it. It's a very uncomfortable place to be in. It feels like a sense of hopelessness, a lack of agency. It feels uncanny. It doesn't feel good. So no wonder you're having dreams about getting someplace else. I'm curious about like what actual dream symbology you've been having. If you've been having either night terrors, distressing dreams, try not to see them as like ghosts visiting you or like demons possessing you. See it more as like a sacred right of your psyche that's trying to communicate something about your waking life through symbolism. My advice would be take those dreams and do some research about what those dreams mean. Okay? Everybody should have a right to feeling emotionally and spiritually safe and fulfilled, and they should have a nervous system that's regulated enough so that they don't feel overwhelmed at taking action to get that thing. And nobody should be in the Seven of Wands energy for too long, and it seems like you've maybe been there a little too long. And to sit with any kind of Wands energy for too long when it's such a fast and high burning energy can really burn you out and cause you health problems, mental health problems, physical health problems, and spiritually really deplete you. Now, seeing both of these both Knight of Swords and Knight of Cups, indicates you have to be brave, even though you maybe don't have all the street smarts or you haven't had like enough lived experience to really pass through this whole experience unscathed. I think I sense a lot of fear around what will happen in the future. And this uncanny valley thing tells me that whatever's going on with this like other person, this other energy, it's it's torrential. And yeah, you really can't live like that much longer, I don't think, and I don't think you will. Another facet of things here is practically speaking. Now, if we were to look through this through more of like a DV lens or like a toxic relationship lens, that words are not enough. Okay, you have to also think about what you're going to do to take care and cover your bases as you exit this whole dynamic. Practical elements, like if you're somebody who's very clear that like things with this other person are not well, family member, relative, whatever it is, partner, that you have to move up on and out of there, there has to be some planning involved. Okay, there has to be some planning involved. I do see this. It might indicate you've already kind of been there, but what sort of indicates to me is like you've been maybe taking actions of trying to communicate, but like you need to see that there is a trickster energy afoot. And if you try to communicate with a trickster, if you try to like have a heart to heart with a trickster, like you're not going to make them less trickstery. You know what I mean? So accepting that he's almost like walking away from this trickster. You know what I mean? And this trickster is like really kind of in this sort of negative, sort of devil-esque kind of energy, reaching into the underrealm to spin tricks, and you're walking away with your words, and then you're able to walk away because you've emotionally matured enough to walk away. That is the dream. Now, saying that this is a dream, it hasn't happened yet, and I can sense this sort of I just feel like my heart is so aching for you. I feel so almost like scatterbrained, like I can't even focus. I think that that's kind of where you're at in this group. So I want you to focus on this kyanite. If you can actually get yourself some kyanite, that would be like really good. Any grounding energy that you can do. When this energy is afoot, I think it's really hard for you to ground. Your environment is really difficult to ground, but you can kind of create this pressure release valve by starting to plan an exit. And there's a lot of ways to do that. There's a lot of resources to help you plan to do that. I think you're kind of there. So I think what's going to kind of help you is continue to focus on this other person's actions and how they feel violating, and use that as your motivation to move up on and out of the situation, okay? That's how I'm feeling about Group 1's reading. I hope that this resonated for somebody, and thank you so much. Bye.
Oh, that was...
All right, Group 2. Let's take our little pin off of here. It has some mushrooms. It has some, it looks like amethyst and mushrooms on a crescent moon. Love that. Very mystical and very dreamy. Let's figure out they're sliding all over the place. What your dream is. Let's figure out what is going to happen. I call all my energy back to me from Group 1's reading. Group 1 had a lot of stuff going on. Evidently, y'all do too. I think we need to knock on the deck. Hello? There was a lot of energy I just channeled in the first reading. Okay. Centering myself as we figure out what Group 2's dream is. Okay, there's the dream. Now the quote-unquote nightmare, or the fear of what could go wrong with this dream. Okay. The root, why you want this dream. The action to take. The help you can receive. the most potential, the most likely outcome. If you take heed of this reading today. Okay, let's make sure that looks good in the frame. Yeah, it looks good. Looks perfect. 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 Okay, your dream is the High Priest, which is the Hierophant. Your fear, Three of Pentacles. The Root, King of Swords. The action to take, Two of Swords. Okay, the help you can receive, Three of Swords reversed. Outcome, Page of Wands reversed. Okay, so you have a dream of following some type of path. This feels like school, career, vocational work, a course, something, some type of continued education, an initiation rite. You're dreaming about being initiated into some new phase of life. The nightmare, the fear of what could go wrong, is the Three of Pentacles reversed, which the Three of Pentacles upright is about, you know, the first germination / thing growing from what you've started. But to have that be blocked would indicate to me there's an unlearned lesson from the the Two of Pentacles upright, which is about balancing resources and not having learned to balance one's resources or like be fully grounded in the decision. You're afraid of being indecisive. You're afraid of maybe a little bit overwhelmed by like all the steps you have to take to get this thing going. Yeah, like a lack of preparedness and overwhelm. St. John's wort, you're ruled by the King of Swords. There's like you want to do this. I almost feel like you want to do this because of another person. Oh. Well, the King of Swords is going to be like a master of the pen, a master of words. In some capacity, you are either hoping to become a master of conflict, a master of logic, which could indicate like really high level schooling. But if it's also to indicate somebody around you is maybe this energy that you want to impress, I could see it going either way. Let's go with the first one, that you envision. There's a version of you that is so mastered in your ability to handle conflict and tension. And maybe you don't feel super prepared for that right now. The action you should take is you have to make a decision. It sort of feels like you've been waffling a little bit back and forth about like whether or not you should do it. But your guiding energy is the Three of Swords reversed. Okay, so Three of Swords upright is heartbreak. Three of Swords reversed by comparison, I think, is usually a much better card to get, is that you're being guided by not having your heart be pierced negatively, I guess. Let's read what the Herbal Tarot says about the Three of Swords reversed. Yeah, here, it's right here. I almost turned right to the page. I did, actually. Letting go of injury and pain. Yeah, so you're going to be guided by letting go of injury and pain. Okay, so it's almost painful for you to make this decision. I wonder why that is. Why is it so painful for you to make that decision? I sort of feel, again, if it was another person that's inspiring you to do that, and you're trying to assuage, you know what it is? Somebody effed you up. Somebody effed you up bad. Somebody harmed you, said something to you that made you feel not good enough. That's what it is. Somebody challenged your intellect. Somebody made you feel like you were not this. Oh. Well, y'all, what they say? What did somebody say to you? You need to let go of that pain to make that decision. Okay, so the issue is that you know you need to go and get another vocation, get more qualified in some way. And you, on the one hand, you do have some good reason to do it. It just is kind of time for it. But there was a catalyst. Somebody challenged you in a way you were not prepared. That hurt your ego, I think. And it had you spinning into overdrive, being like, well, I've got to go do this. I've got to go and get my eggs in a row. Get all my eggs in a row and my ducks in a row. Put my eggs in a basket and get my ducks in a row. but you feel a bit torn on making the decision because you need to get clear on your intention. You need to have the right intention for doing this. If you're only doing it because somebody called you dumb or somebody called you out or they made you feel small or they made you feel some type of way, that's an external validation that's actually in the long term never in alignment with a person's fate or karma. Somebody saying something about you, that is their karma. So this is something we need to clear up right away here. You need to let go of that in order to make the decision about how you're going to move. Because I do think this was also a pivotal point. Like this conversation, whatever this person said to you, right, that made you want to be like, oh, I'll show them. That was spirit actually trying to initiate you into making a decision about, you know, getting another career, you know, furthering your education, whatever it is, bettering yourself. I see this as like, I'm bettering myself and using the tools around me that other people have used who came before me in order to do so. That is the dream, but it was almost like catalyzed through the ego. And in the paradox is in order to move through it, to move up on and out of there, you need to let go of your pain. Now, something tells me if I see a reverse card as your outcome card, especially if I see a reversed minor arcana, is that indicates to me that the outcome, especially with it being wands, is that your immediate reaction to this reading was a little bit more of a roast than you anticipated, and it kind of messed with your ego. So you kind of actually need to like take a beat from this reading and just take a minute, okay? Because the tarot is never wrong. It's sometimes just early. Also remember, I don't know who you are. I could never call you out as an individual about the things you have or haven't done, the things you said or haven't said, the ways you've been qualified or not qualified to show up in a room. I couldn't know that. So let's remember, don't kill the messenger here, okay? But the Page of Wands reverse indicates that like, you know, the Page of Wands is eager and inquisitive in his ability to use his fire. If the Page of Wands isn't, he's being petulant, he's being shut down and turning his fire inwardly and burning himself alive a little bit. Now, we don't need to be doing that, okay? The inevitability is you're going to have to live there for a second, but only let it live as long as the lifespan of Wands itself. Wands moves within hours or a day, okay? Throw the pity party for yourself. Be honest with yourself. But just then feel the feeling. Let it happen. Let go of the pain. Feel the pain and let it go. Then this is going to be much easier to make the decision. And I'm actually super excited for you. Like, what's going to happen? What is afoot for you? I actually really curious. Let's pull a card to kind of indicate like where maybe this is all going. Once you throw the pity party, okay? Okay, I see it. The World, girl! See, what a beautiful... You're gonna reach it. You're going for like enlightenment. Like this is about like karmic fate. Like your path is like it is written. So once you get over this pity party, like there are much larger forces moving in your favor. Okay, yeah. Okay, so you know what I mean. Feel the immediate. Yeah, you have some like it's almost like you got a thorn in your side. You got like brambles up your bum, something, and you've been a little bit like it's almost like I just sort of energetically pricked a couple holes in your bubble. And now it's like everything can kind of fall into alignment. I feel like we've sort of deflated the balloon of tension and terror and despair. The World card is such a good card to get. So yeah, you need to continue on your journey. But just do it for you. Who cares what the other person said? They probably don't even remember what they said or why they said it. You know what I mean? Sometimes people don't even realize what they're doing when they say things. Sometimes people are also saying things thoughtlessly because they're channeling something by way of spirit. And sometimes the message is not so great, but it is effective. So something happened to you that didn't feel great, but it was effective in inciting the change that needs to happen. Okay? Period, group 2. Good luck. You is smart. You is... What is that from the... You is smart. You is wise. You is important. Is that how it goes? Just say that to yourself in the mirror like 15 times, okay? Say that to yourself in the mirror. Hype yourself up. Give yourself some positive affirmations. Love yourself, because if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love anybody else? That kind of vibe, okay? Word. All right, time for group 3. All right, group 3, last but not least, let's figure out what your dream is. What is your dream? What do you dream of? Oh, okay. Why do I have arthritis? Why am I seizing up? Okay, your dream. It has been spoken. What do you fear? If you are to take action on your dream, what could go wrong? Why do you want this dream? What action? Okay, I feel it. What action should you take? Okay. Hello. What action should you take? What help out there is available to you? What is the likely... Oh my gosh, these cards are sticky. They're the easiest cards to shuffle, and I'm still over here being like slipping and sliding all over the place. What's the likely outcome? I feel it. Likely outcome.
Okay, how are we looking in the frame? Looking all right.
Okay. Your dream. You dream of the Four of Wands. You dream of celebration. Literally celebrating with your fairy friends in the forest. You know, same. I wish spring will come soon. If it's spring while you're watching this. What do you fear? The Ace of Wands. Oh, Four of Wands is what you hope for. You fear what could go wrong is some new type of creative passion coming along that detracts from celebrating. You want to celebrate, but you're afraid doing so means you're going to have to take action on something new. Interesting. Why are you motivated by this? Through fear. Fear of maybe being alone, the fear of missing out, the fear of not knowing. You sort of feel like you alleviate that fear, the sort of this internal fear, this discomfort, by having some reprieve by being with people that you care about, maybe also distracting yourself a little bit through whimsy, folly, fable, and myth. And when you think about something that could go wrong, I mean, the ace cards are always so positive. So for you to fear something so positive tells me that that's based in this sort of weird irrational fear that you have somewhere in your subconscious. And why do you have that? What's going on with that? Queen of Cups is the action to take, to be doting and caring and giving to those around you. Okay. What help is available to you? The Tower. Oh, the energy of the Tower, things falling away. Okay. And the outcome, the trickery. Oh, how confusing. Okay. All right, group 3. This dream is about stability and celebration. This card is, the dream is you want a sense of celebration, belonging, homecoming, a sense of belonging and being at peace with people you care about, right? The fear is the lack of containment of that energy, an impulse to start too soon or to lunge forward into that energy, okay? The risk is rushing things because you're starved for movement in the first place. The root is the Eight of Swords. It's feeling trapped in your own head, okay? And feeling like there are these mental loops and maybe isolation, like not being around people, so you're craving to be around people. I see this as rumination, as wondering or anticipating people will reject you or abandon you. There's this need, you sort of feel like if you could just finally get to celebrate with people and just be out with people, it will fix this. In reality, the action to take is to be regulated in your nervous system and to pay attention to what feels right in your body and what feels wrong, what feels expansive, what feels contracted. This is a whole, this with the Tower card is giving an emotional nervous system intervention that feels like like a tooth that needs to be pulled, but it's really hard to pull it and you've been putting it off. You know what I mean? So yes, think about this Queen of Cups card representing regulation, responding softly, not forcing things, giving emotionally to others around you. The help is the Tower. This would be like a necessary reset that's breaking this false structure we see here in the root. Talk about root canal. You know what I mean? The outcome is a warning, okay? Don't rebuild the same illusion that you have here, when you've done all this work to integrate this Queen of Cups energy, it's definitely going to be difficult for you. Definitely going to be difficult. It's also indicating that the dream that you have is a little bit of a trickery. That you think getting to be around people all the time, getting to be in celebration or maybe party with people or just like have a good time with people, like that is going to be your remedy, and that's why you're dreaming about it. In reality, the outcome is you're seeing that that's kind of an illusion. You have this sort of system set up by way of sort of imagining or envisioning that external validation through being around people is going to quelch this feeling, when really it's going to be this and letting that structure fall. But something tells me you're going to have to try it a couple of times, reach that conclusion, try it again. Go be back out with people, go do impulsive things with people, realize that that's not really doing anything, integrate emotionally, do some healing work, connect with more deeply with fewer individuals, let the structure fall away again. And then finally, maybe we'll see you get to this point where you're realizing that you have all the power inside of you, and that the Eight of Swords is a chosen narrative of rumination that's born out of a traumatic place. And no amount of people around you are going to change that core, seed, root thing that's happening. Okay, so the cards is kind of giving you a warning. You need to kind of see the situation, like what you're kind of dreaming about, what you want to fill all your time with, like this lateral interaction with people, socializing all the time. It's an antidote. It's like an antidote that wears off the same day. You know what I mean? And the moment you get home and you're alone, you kind of go back to feeling like this. Yeah, that's because it's not about the people. It's not about the people. There is a structure inside of you that needs reorienting. And I get it. It is scary to go through that reorientation process. The psyche is a fragile thing. So my advice is less of this environment of just like partying and being out with people, more about thinking about what containers can you create so that you can reach this Queen of Cups energy and have a safe place to let these old structures fall. Okay? That's my reading for group 3. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to Path of Spirals Tarot. My name is Claire. I hope that you derived what you needed to from this reading. If you found something that resonated with you, let us know what group you picked. I'd love to hear your stories, your anecdotes, how it was helpful. If you could leave a comment down below, I'd be so grateful. Feel free to share any of these readings with somebody who you think might resonate with it. If you'd like to find me online, you can find me here, Path of Spirals Tarot YouTube channel. Find me on Instagram, Path of Spirals Tarot. TikTok, I have a TikTok tarot game show I'm doing over there, Path of Spirals. And for business inquiries, you can email me, pathofspiralstarot@gmail.com. We'll see you in the next one, guys. Have a great rest of your week. Bye.